Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Min's Mates podcast.
I think as well, what is interesting is that we talk about AI now as an experience. It's something new. We experience AI. But if it continues like it's going right now, then I think it's not going to be an experience anymore soon. It's like water. We don't experience water is what water is, right? There's no experience unless you are walking on the street and all of a sudden you get a bucket of water over you, then you experience water in a different way. But in a day-to-day way, there's no experience anymore. And I think that's going to happen with AI as well. That it's going to be a part of our lives. It's and so embedded that it's not an experience anymore. That it's just there doing its thing. And how and what is going to do its thing, nobody will know. But one thing I do know, I think I know, that it's not going to be an experience anymore soon already. Not in 20 years, but maybe in just 4 years. What do you think, Min?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm kind of thinking of things like the Apple Vision Pro, and as that improves and gets to a price point where regular consumers can have it, it's another step. So now imagine you're just living in this alternate world with these in the VR, with the AI. And again, what's that going to mean for real human connection? Because I'm already seeing with the sort of younger generations, whenever I have sort of younger guests coming, they seem to only be able to communicate through their thumbs, right? They can't really hold a conversation together anymore. And now, if it's in this virtual world and where you have this sort of AI assistants as well, it's just like, where's that really going to help us? Because one of the key things, coming back to what you're saying, Perry, is ultimately we're humans, right? And we've developed over hundreds of thousands of years, and all of a sudden, what's that going to mean for
For
development?
us, right? We've always
Yeah,
adjusted, so we're
yeah,
going to
yeah,
adjust to this as well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
how? I'm
yeah.
so curious.
So
Yeah.
my final question to both of you is a bit of a matrix question in terms of if you had the choice of, okay, it's super safe now, it's been signed off by the government and the health authorities, you can have a chip put into your brain to be enhanced with AI, always on. What are your thoughts? I think I know yours, Perry, but let's start with you, Satya.
It's putting in my brain. Not now, I would say. I wouldn't sign up for such a program now. And maybe in a different world where I definitely know that things are regulated properly, things are taken care of properly. Like the way we take medicines, we do not question when a doctor prescribes us. We do take it because you know the amount of process that goes behind it. So I would sign up only when I know for sure that this is really safe and there's no superhuman trying to control my thoughts. Which again, it's like paradox, right? Our thoughts are already being controlled with the information that we are consuming, the information we choose that we are going to study, read, and store in our mind. I don't know how different it will be. I'll again go in this paradoxical theory, but I wouldn't sign up right now given the data that I have in my hand, the information I have in my hand says it's not safe. I wouldn't want to be controlled without my own switch to it. I would still want to know why. Like for me, the reason or any kind of reasoning so far that I have in my brain going on, I wouldn't still sign up for the trip. It has to be a strong why.
Well, my biggest passion in life is nonlinear thinking. And I call that the space between thoughts, the emptiness, the black hole in our minds that is unexpected, where true creativity pops up and where true connection comes. And I see a lot of people, they don't want to be mediocre. I think most people are worried about being mediocre. Nobody wants to be mediocre, and yet here we are all being very mediocre. So who cares? You want to be free. You don't want to know. And I've met so many people who are constantly saying, do you know this book? Do you know this podcast? Do you know this writer? Have you heard of this? And I'm thinking, no. And I don't want to know. I want to explore my own thoughts. So having a chip with all the knowledge in the world, the space between thoughts will be more difficult to reach. And I don't want to know it all. I want to be free in my own creative mind, and to be in the space between thoughts it's very helpful that I don't know a lot, that I'm not that clever and don't have. I love that. I always say, I don't, my advice is not to listen to advice. And that's a loop, don't listen to me, but that's the advice that I have. Don't listen to advice. And so therefore, no, I definitely do not want to have a chip. I definitely want to be human in my human intelligence. And moreover go into the space between thoughts where there is emptiness and where the beauty of connection and creativity and unexpected things are. How do I explain that this way? I mean, is that okay? Yeah. But it would be cool to have a chip and say, okay, I now want to speak Italian because I think that sounds so romantic. That would
Yeah,
be so
yeah,
cool to say,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
now I'm going to say this in fluently Italian.
yeah,
Click, here
yeah.
we go. That would be cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
See
that's
it.
already here, right? In a slightly different version. Obviously, it's not coming from you. I know the likes of the big companies like Zoom, etc., already looking like that, where you get everyone gets their own version of the conference call like this, and irrespective of what language the person speaking, you hear it back in whatever language you want to actually hear. So things like that are already being developed, a little bit different from obviously coming from yourself, but people are sort of thinking about that right now. I definitely, there's that thing that in London, if you want to become a taxi driver, it's known as the knowledge, and people will spend a couple of years to learn literally how to go from here to Oxford Street, and you have to kind of memorize it. And they did that analysis where they did the scans of their brains and their sort of hippocampus parts, which is the memory part, actually increased over that time because they were actually using their brains. And like any muscle, it's kind of how you use it as to how it adapts. In that same way now, where we just type something into ChatGTP before it even gives us an answer, we're just like, here you go, this is probably good. And that whole thing of being lazy is certainly a risk where we're not, like you're saying, providing any thought to say actually what does this mean. And I also chuckle to myself where more and more I go on conference calls and there's more note takers than there are than people, where someone's just sent their bot along, and it's like brilliant. Cheers, thanks.
Yeah, and then upload their note takers into AI and then say to AI, create a LinkedIn post talking about mediocrity. Everything, it becomes so standard. You don't have to go to meetings anymore. Everything has been taken care of. But then what's the value? What are we doing? What are we bringing? Nothing, right?